time were written for our learning.
And the Most High said, whatsoever things were written before time were written for our learning. Whatsoever was written in the script, in the Bible, all the history, all the prophecies, everything were written for our learning. Read.
That we, through patience and comfort of the scriptures, might have hope.
So we having patience and comfort when we read these scriptures and get understanding of what the scriptures are saying. We having hope. Hope for what? Hope, hope for better than what we are living in today. Because we are living in hell over here today. If you step outside, it's problems. Even if you be like Stevie Wonder, so you won't see what's going on around you when you step outside. You see? But out here is ridiculous, man. They catch the train every day. And it's ridiculous. Morning, noon, and night. You don't want to see what's on the train or in the train station these days. So give me jump from there and give me Romans 11, verse 1 and 2. So whatsoever written aforetime, written for our learning, so that when we see all these things happening today in America, we already know because we're reading about them in the scriptures. We ain't waiting for nobody to tell us, oh, you see what happened today? Or you see that we already know, because the Most High said it, that these things going to happen. Because we are living in the end times today. Nobody in the world tomorrow. We have the internet, we can see everything in an instant. You just Google it. You can see anything. There's nobody ain't coming around writing you no letter when it takes 2 or 3 or 4 days or weeks to get to you. You can see whatever happening in an instant. Read that.
Reading from the book of Romans, chapter 11 and verse 1. I say then, have the Most High cast away his people.
Right. Have the Most High cast away his people? That's my topic. Has the Most High cast away the so-called Negro man and woman child today? Who are Israel today? When you read Deuteronomy, get the understanding, the whole of Deuteronomy 20th chapter, get the understanding who the chapter is speaking about. Have the Most High cast away those people that came over here in the bottom of those slave ships like sardines. Because when you look at the diagram that you see with the slave ship, really look like sardines. You look at it, packed in there in a can. Because the way how the ship look, the ship with that oval, how they draw it, it look like a sardine can.
True.
Yeah. Frank top again. Read it, Frank top.
Reading from Romans, chapter 11 and verse 1. I say then, have God cast away his people? God forbid. For I also am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin.
Right. And Paul was telling you what tribe he's from, what nation he's from. Because a lot of our people, when they get up in the New Testament and reading Paul writing, they get all messed up. They start running all over the place. And not knowing that when you get to the end of every book that Paul wrote, you see at the bottom, it says, especially the book that he's reading from, Romans. When you get to the end of Romans, which is the 16th chapter, and at the bottom of the end of the 16th chapter, it says, written to the Romans from Corinth and sent by Phoebe, servant of the church of Corinthia. You see that? It was letters. Every time you get to the bottom, the ending of every book of that Paul wrote, it tells you it was a letter that he was writing to these churches. But people get up in there and just start running with Paul's writing.
Right.
Because they're saying that, oh, the Greeks can be saved and all kind of thing, but not knowing the full history behind Greek. When it say Greek, they don't know the full history behind that. Because they ain't learning anything in the churches, because the pastor ain't going into these books. He probably got the Apocrypha hidden behind something, or keeping it, or propping up something in the church. Because he ain't going into that book. He's just reading from the 66. He probably don't read the Old Testament. Probably just up in the New Testament. Reading Paul writings. And got everybody bugged up with religion. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
So I was gonna let me get these ones here that people like to use all the time with Paul. They like to use this all the time. So give me Romans 9 and 26 it is. Give me Romans 9 and 26.
Reading from the book of Romans, chapter 9, and verse 26, and it reads, "And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, Ye are not my people, there shall they be called the children of the living God."
Right, 9 and 26. 9 and 24. Sorry, 9 and 24. Yeah, jump up to.
Reading from the book of Romans, chapter 9, and verse 24. "Even us, whom he had called, not of the Jews only, but also of the Gentiles."
You see that? They go to this scripture too to show, oh, well, it's not only the Jews only, they ain't gonna be the only ones that are being called when it comes to receiving salvation and that kind of thing. It says, you see, it says Gentile there.
Mm-hmm.
You see, it says Gentile, but they don't understand. They're just running with everything they see up there, but don't know the full history why Paul is using Gentile, but not speaking about the true natural Gentiles in that aspect.
Right.
You see? So that's one that we'll run to. Galatians 3 and 28. Galatians 3 and 28.
Uh-huh.
Galatians 3 and 28.
Read from the book of Galatians, chapter 3 and verse 28. "There is neither Jew nor Greek. There is neither bond nor free. There is neither male nor female, but ye are all one in Christ Jesus."
You see that? There's another one that you can run to to show that, oh, it's not only Israel only, it's not only the Jews only, everybody else coming along, but that's not everybody, because it says Greek, right? It says Greek.
Uh-huh.
What happened to the Ishmaelites? What happened to the Moabites? The Ammonites? You see? So something's wrong with the equation, because if it's everybody, all these other nations supposed to be mentioned here when it says there's no difference between Jew nor Greek. It's supposed to list the rest of the nations, like how Psalms 83, the Mosai lists, David wrote the rest of the nations who were against Israel. See, it should be like that here with Galatians 3 and 28, but it only stick at Greek. But there's other nations who's supposed to be, by their understanding, supposed to be saved with the everlasting salvation along with Israel, because they don't understand. 1 Corinthians 12 and 13.
1 Corinthians 3 and what?
1 Corinthians 12 and 13. I'm just going over these scriptures here to show you these scriptures. These is what the so-called Christian uses to justify that everybody is going to be saved, but everybody is not going to be saved, because up here in Paul's writing, he didn't say about Moab or Ammon or nor Ishmaelites nor Elam. He didn't mention none of these other nations up in here. So something is wrong here.
Reading from the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 12, and verse 13. For by one Spirit are we all baptized into one body,
Right.
whether we be Jews or Gentiles, whether we be bond or free, and have been all made to drink into one Spirit.
See that? And they're around with that. See, it said we be all be baptized, whether be Jew or Greek or bond or free. All are gonna be coming to the into the kingdom. But that's not, when you get understanding, that's not what is gonna happen. It's not what is gonna happen. Give me try Romans 2 and 9. Let's see what Romans 2 and 9 say. All of the scriptures that these people that use, and none in say, well, thus saith the Lord or anything like that, because there was letters that Paul was writing to certain churches in Asia Minor.
Romans 2 and 9.
Yeah, try Romans 2 and 9. What I say, Romans 2 and 9.
Reading from the book of Romans, chapter 2 and verse 9.
Hold on. Wait. Yeah, go ahead.
Tribulation and anguish upon every soul of man that doeth evil, of the Jews first, and also of the Gentiles.
Read on.
10. But glory, honor, and peace to every man that worketh good, to the Jew first, and also to the Gentile.
Right, you see? And it keeps saying that with these verses that I go into, to the Jew first, and also to the Gentile. As I said before, I read at the last end of this chapter, it was a letter that Paul was writing to the epistles. So these are some of the scriptures that our people like to run with when we confront them, when we say, oh, well, only Israel gonna be saved in these last days. We have everlasting salvation. But they're so caught up in this Christianity thing, they can't understand that. They was indoctrinated to believe that, Yahweh came and died for everybody on the cross, and everybody can be saved through his blood. You also got to believe, you could be a spiritual Israelite, all kind of thing. But no, you gotta be one of the born of from the seed line of one of Jacob's sons. You from Abraham all the way down. You gotta be born of one of those seed lines. You can't be a spiritual part of Israel. You can be a spiritual Israelite.
Yeah.
Where's that? They're not to keep saying, we're a spiritual Israelite. Well, where's that in the scripture? Where's that in the scripture, being a spiritual Israelite? That's not in the scripture. Romans 3 and 9. Let's see where Romans 3 and 9.
Reading from the book of Romans, chapter 3 and verse 9. What then? Are we better than they? No, in no wise. For we have before proved both Jews and Gentiles that they are all under sin.
So, all right, and they are all under sin. You see that? And to be sinning, you gotta be one of those people that laws was given to be sinning. We're all on the sin. See that? So the Most High gave Israel the laws, statutes, and commandments. So if we break those laws, statutes, and commandments. Now, if these are the true Gentiles that they had nothing to do with the law, statute, and commandment from the beginning, they can't sin. Not according to the laws that the Most High gave you. They sin, yeah, but not according to the laws that the Most High gave Israel. You see? So again, that's another scripture they run to again. Oh, you see, it keeps saying Jew or Gentile, Jew or Gentile, Jew or Gentile. Acts 11 and 19. These are all the scriptures that in here that talking about Jews and Gentiles. Jew and Gentile. No, they won't go back. They won't go back in the Old Testament. When the Mosai is speaking, they won't go back in the Old Testament. When the Mosai making it very plain and clear who is his people and who he going to deliver in these last days. I don't see Esau being delivered in these last days. He may deliver to slavery and cotton field. As a brother once said, oh, well, I been sitting on my porch drinking my yayan, and you better pick my cotton, my corn good. Go ahead.
Reading from the book of Acts, chapter 11, and verse 13. And he showed us
19,
19.
11 and 19.
19, Acts chapter 11 and verse 19. Now they, which were scattered abroad upon the persecution that arose about Stephen, traveled as far as Phoenicia and Cyprus and Antioch, preaching the word to none but unto the Jews only.
See that? And that's a cut for them there. He was only preaching to the Jews only. He wasn't preaching to the natural Greeks that the people are saying. So I'm just going to these scriptures just to show you that it says Jew and Greek. All right. You might have a point there, but it's in vain because you have to know the history. Why did Paul keep saying this is one-on-one common sense? Paul keep writing Jew or Greek, right? But who was ruling when Paul was on the scene? Was it the Greek or the Romans?
The Romans.
So why he keep writing Greek if the Romans were ruling when he was on the scene?
The Greeks were amongst them, and we were part of the Greeks.
Yeah, but why he keep writing Greek? The word Greek there. He's supposed to be writing Romans, because that's who was ruling. Even when Yahushua was on the scene, the Romans were ruling. So why he keep resorting to the Greek? Because it eluded something there. Because why would he write Greek if the Romans were ruling? So it's got to be a historical event that happened that he keep referring to in years later, you know, Greek. So that's what people don't understand.
Is it that
people
language
run?
you spoke?
No, people running with this thing. Remember, the Greeks was rolling for over about 200 and somebody years, have us in slavery. Then after the Greeks, the Romans took over. You understand? The Romans took on the Greeks and they intermingled with the Romans, and then the Romans was just like the Persians and the Medes. The Medes was up first, and then the Persians came and overrun the Medes, and they joined with the Persians.
Right.
And then that way you get the Persians and the Medes. So same thing here with the Greeks and the Romans. Now the Romans came, took down the Greeks, and the Romans was ruling. The Romans was ruling for what? How long? Probably the Romans ruled for a good little time, because it went from the Romans into the Renaissance. After that, after we was ruling for 1,000 years, then Renaissance came back. But the Romans was probably ruling for about what, 100 and something, because the Greeks had it for 200 and something. I think the Romans were 127 or somewhere around there. So,
Wow.
so it's a problem if you don't understand the history of the Bible, if you don't understand any of the writings of Paul. Because Paul writings is very hard to understand if you don't have an understanding about the history of it. When it come up in the New Testament, when he's talking about Greeks and Gentiles. So you must have the history on the New Testament when it comes to Paul writings. I know, check this out. You have Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. They didn't say Greek, did they?
No.
They said Roman. Caesar. You understand? They didn't say, and then Paul came on the scene and Paul started writing Greek. So, see the problem there? Those three that walked, those disciples that walked with Yahushua, none of them wrote Greek in their writing. I didn't read it. But only when Paul came on the scene, Paul started writing the Greek, saying, well, there's no difference between Jew or Greek. The same people was around there when Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and Yahushua was around. The same people that Paul went to, they was still around there. So why all change when it get up there with Paul's writing?
Paul was probably referring to our ancestors that was under the Greek persecution.
Right.
And they had children.
But Matthew, Mark, Luke, John know about that. Yahushua certainly know about that. Because he said, "Was other sheep that I have not of this fold." You understand? The one that was in exile from Israel, from the commonwealth of Israel, as the scriptures say. For nearly hundreds of years, because from Saint Shalmaneser came into the northern tribe and took on the northern tribe, they were scattered all over the place. Because he took them and placed them in different cities and took those people over there and placed them in Samaria. So they were scattered from way back then to Paul, up to Paul and start writing about Greek. They were scattered to that time. So the question is, has the Most High cast away his people?
God forbid.
That's the question. The Most High cast away the people. That was the question. The Most High cast away his people. Give me Malachi 3:6. Let's see. Who's this? 3:6. Malachi 3:6. Let's see.
Read from the book of Malachi, chapter 3 and verse 6. Oh, man. It's like 3 and 6. Therefore, nigh shall be unto you that ye shall have, like,
I've got 3 and 6.
Yeah.
For I am the Lord.
Yeah.
therefore nigh shall be unto you.
No.
That's not it.
Malachi.
I've got 3 and verse 6. For I am the Lord. I change not.
And that was the most I say. I am the creator of heaven and earth. I change not. So, of course, if he said that he changed not, that means he's never going to change what he said. Give me Isaiah 45 and 17 to show he haven't changed. He said, I am the Most High, I change not. These sons of Jacob, so not some change not. So give me yeah.
Read from the book of Isaiah, chapter 45 and verse 17. But Israel shall be saved in the Lord with an everlasting salvation.
You see, so why you don't say it up there and pause right here? So the Greeks should be saved with an everlasting salvation. Read.
Ye shall not be ashamed, nor confounded, world without end.
So why you don't say that up there with pause right here? Because he was writing to the churches with letters, epistles to the churches. Why you don't say that? Why you don't say why you don't say, read that again?
Reading from the book of Isaiah, chapter 45 and verse 17. But Israel shall be saved in the Lord with an everlasting salvation.
Right. So why you don't say that? Read.
Ye shall not be ashamed, nor confounded, world without end.
Right. So why you don't say that up there, that Israel, that the Greek should be saved with an everlasting salvation? You should not be confounded, world without end. Imagine that. If Esau, Esau gets saved in this kingdom and gets salvation, you know what happened to us, right?
Same thing over and over.
For a long time, longer time this time.
Mm-hmm.
You see that? But our people don't understand that. Our people don't consider that. Our people don't consider the ramification of this man. If Yahushua cracked the sky and he didn't look like us, he looked like the Greeks. We be picking cotton all over again for a long time. We be and then the scripture say reward him double. So we be getting those things what the scripture says. We be getting double. Because you say, oh, the Negroes can be it. We be getting double when Yahushua crack the sky. If he ain't come back being a so-called black man. From there, give me Exodus 4 and 22. Now that was Paul's writing, so I get right now we're going to what the Mosai is saying about his chosen people.
Reading from the book of Exodus, chapter 4 and verse 22. And thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, thus said the Lord, Israel is my son, even my firstborn.
The Mosai says that about the Greeks at then Paul's writing. No. He just said no different between Jew and Greek. It can mean anything. It can mean it could mean the real Jew, the real Greeks, or it could be Jew and a Jew that acting like a Greek, no different. It could go either way. But here in Paul's writing, it only goes one way. Because there was Jews acting like Greek up there in Asia Minor. At those churches, wherever they were scattered from the Commonwealth of Israel for hundreds of years. Just like us here in America. We came from the Caribbean, we came up from wherever we was, and we came to America, and we become American citizens, and we start doing the things that Americans does. We start following after their customs, keeping their laws and everything that they implement. So that's all that means. Because we reading here the foundation from the beginning, what the Mosai set up, who's the Mosai chosen, who he chose, who he preferred, who he called his firstborn son. You see? That's what the Mosai dealing with. You can read Paul's writing, but when you go back here where the foundation is, it tells you who is these people, who is the Mosai people. And he said in Malachi 6 and 3, or 3 and 6, 3 and 6, it tells you he changed not. So if you don't change, and up in Hebrews, it tells you Yahushua, he's the same today and yesterday and forever. So like the Father, like the Son, they don't change. So, and if they don't change, that means Israel, the so-called Negroes, so-called Haitians, the West Indians, and all of those tribes from the Indian descent in South America, those are the chosen people. Those are his firstborn, Israel. It tells you that in Exodus, that it is his firstborn and his chosen in Exodus. Give me Psalms 147 and 19 and 20. Now we're dealing with the Creator now. We're dealing with Yahweh, the Most High. This is who we're dealing with now. You're not dealing with Paul, we're dealing with the Most High himself right here. This is what he said.
Reading from the book of Psalms, chapter 147, verse 19. He showed his word unto Jacob.
He showed his word unto Jacob. All his word that written here in the scripture. Show his word unto Jacob. Who is Jacob today? Jacob is Israel today. 12 tribes that were scattered all over the world today, in the four corners of the earth. He showed his word unto us. Read.
His statutes and his judgments unto Israel.
And his statutes and his judgment unto Israel. High holy days, feast days, dietary laws, the civil laws, ceremonial laws. You see that? Unto Israel. That's it. That's verse 22.
Verse 20. He had not dealt so with any nation. And as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord.
You see that? He have not dealt so with any other nation. And as for his judgment, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord.
Praise ye.
Hallelujah. You see that? It's nothing to do with the Most High ain't mixing words up, maybe Jew nor Greek. so that will confuse people. He goes direct to the source. He tells you who he was his chosen people. And he's not, and he didn't cast away his chosen people. God, even as some of us Christians like to run and say, well, you know, the Jews rejected Christ, you know. So he sent Paul to the Gentiles. But all Israel rejected Christ. When you read in in Matthew and Luke and John, did everybody reject him of Israel rejected him? No. He had followers. He had disciples. So everybody then rejected it as that lame excuse that y'all use. And weak excuse too. That's a lame and weak excuse. Everybody then reject Yahweh Shai. Give me Luke 9 and 22. Let's see. Let's see that everybody rejected Yahweh Shai, Christ. Luke 9 and 22.
Reading from the book of Luke, chapter 9, and verse 22, saying, the Son of Man must suffer many things and be rejected of the elders and chief priests and scribes and be slain and be raised the third day.
Right. So you see that? It said the Son of Man must suffer many things and be rejected of the elders and chief priests and scribes. Them is three different people there. You see that?
Done.
And say, oh, well, not only was it by the chief priests and the scribes and the elders, but all Israel too rejected him. It didn't say that. It just mentioned three. Mark 8:31. It just mentioned three.
Mark
8:31. It just mentioned three here in Luke 9 and 22. It didn't say the whole nation rejected him. So you can't use that to run with what you think Paul is saying up there, that the Greeks can come in.
Reading from the book of Mark, chapter 8, and verse 22.
31.
And it began to teach them that the Son of Man must suffer many things and be rejected of the elders and of the chief priests and scribes and be killed, and after 3 days rise again.
And Luke said it and Mark said it. So he wasn't rejected of all Israel. You see that? Give me John 10 and 39. So he wasn't rejected as our people like Christians like to say, so that they can run with everybody can be saved. Everybody can come into the fold. As they say, if Yahweh Shai cracked the sky band or Caucasian or Esau, we are in trouble. Mark 8:31.
I'll go to John.
Sorry, John 10 and 39. Sorry, John 10 and 39.
Okay. First John, right?
No, John.
Okay. 39.
You said 10 and 39.
Yeah.
Reading from the book of John, chapter 10, and verse 39. Therefore, they sought again to take him, but he escaped out of their hand.
Wait, that's it. 10. Go ahead, keep reading. Go ahead.
Okay. And went away again beyond Jordan into the place where John at first baptized. And there he abode. And many resorted unto him and said, John did no miracle, but all things that John spake of this man were true. And many believed on him there.
See, many believe on him there. So where to get this thing about? Oh, well, they rejected him. Everybody rejected him, so he sent Paul to the Greeks, so the Greeks can come and have salvation. See, but we still had a lot of people believe on Yahushua. You see that? And he wasn't rejected of everybody. He was only rejected by those three main people in authority. Which part?
You're unlocked.
So, all right. He wasn't rejected of everybody. There was people that believe on him, that follow him, see his miracles and follow him, believe on him because of those things that he did among the people. But the elders didn't like that. The elders didn't like that at all, because they said, well, this man come on the scene, and this man come and he's gonna cause when the Romans see us believing it on him and do all kind of thing, they come and take away our place. Cause that's called, you know, the elders and the priests and the scribe, they're full of it. They're like our politicians today. You know what I mean? In this kingdom, they don't want to do right by the people. They just want to fill their pockets and the good name and the good look and the nice things that come along with it. So the same thing back there happening today. The priests, the elders, and all of them, they don't want to see that position. They don't want to go against Caesar and what Caesar bring and what Caesar, stands for, what the Romans come into Jerusalem. They don't want to get that taken away. So that's the same thing that happening today with our so-called black politicians in Congress and in these mayors and these governors. They don't want to go against the status quo that they went and pledge towards. So you pledge a pledge to uphold the Constitution and to keep everything that that is American. But when it comes to your people and the rights of your people, you looking the other way because you're getting paid up on the table. So that's what these elders and those priests and scribes, they don't want to see their position taken away. From there, give me 2 Peter 3:16.
Read from the book of 2 Peter, chapter 3, verse 13. 16. Right. As also in all his epistles, speaking in them of these things, in which are some things hard to be understood,
See that? That's Greek and Jew and Greek, Jew and Gentile. Hard to understand. Read.
which they that are unlearned and unstable wrestle.
Right. And which you are unlearned and unstable. Because if you didn't know the history behind why Paul keep writing in his epistle the word Greek instead of writing Romans, because the Romans was ruling, you would understand it that, oh, well, he writing Greek here because of what the Greeks came into Jerusalem and did in Jerusalem, all the atrocities and forcing their ways and their abominable ways on the Israelites that was dwelling at Jerusalem. You see that? And they would have known that history. They would have said, well, oh, well, as Yahweh Shai said, well, I speak to you in parables, because for you is for you to know this. It's not for them to know. That's why he's speaking in parables. So now Paul up here writing, he could have said Roman. He could have write Roman because that's who was rolling. He didn't write that because it won't be exactly correct, because those brothers and sisters that he went to was in the Greek captivity. So that's where they get all of this Greek fashion and all kind of thing from. It stems from back then there with the Greeks. So that's why he wrote Greek, because he know the history. If he say Romans, well, people would say, oh yeah, okay, but he wrote Greek because of the history when the Greeks came into Jerusalem and did all those things. When you read the Maccabees, first and second Maccabees, when they came into Jerusalem and bring the desolation of abomination upon the altar, having sacrificing swine flesh and having herons and all kind of things, and orgies inside the temple, but on the altar, profaning everything. You see? From there. Let's go to Psalm 148 and 14.
Psalms 148.
Yeah, 14. Psalm 148 and 14.
14.
Yeah, 14.
Reading from the book of Psalms, chapter 148 and verse 14. He also exalted the horn of his people, the praise of all his saints, even of the children of Israel, a people near unto him. Praise ye the Lord.
Praise ye the Lord. He also exalted the horns of his people near unto him, man. The saints. And who is the saints? See that?
Israel.
Israel. And who is the saints? And his people. Give me Psalms. Give me Psalms 50 and 5.
50 and 5. Reading from the book of Psalms, chapter 50 and verse 5. Gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice.
Right. So you see, he exalted his horns and his people, all the saints. And now here in Psalms again, in Psalms again, it says, gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice. So who was sacrificing, making covenants? Was it the other nations or was it Israel?
Israel.
So we're in the foundation of the book. Because you open the New Testament, you still have to stem from the foundation of the book, so you will know when you get up in the New Testament, you won't get lost up there. Because you know, as the Lord say, I change not. So you know from the foundation of the book who he's speaking of. Yeah, he's speaking about the other nations, but yeah, but how he gonna get rid of the other nations? Those other nations, really and truly, those other nations mentioned because we broke the laws, statutes, and the commandment, and he sent those other nations against him. That's why they were mentioned there.
Mm.
But if he was keeping those laws, statutes, and commandments, those nations wouldn't be there punishing.
Mm.
You know, as he said, he used men as his sword to punish people.
Right.
So they won't be punishing us if we did keep those laws, statutes, and commandments from the beginning. You see that? 2 Samuel 7:22.
Samuel 20.
7:22.
7. Reading from the book of 2 Samuel, chapter 7, and verse 22. Wherefore thou art great, O Lord, thy power, for there is none like thee, neither is there any power besides thee, according to all that we have heard with our ears.
Right. Read.
23. And what one nation in the earth is like thy people, even like Israel?
Oh. Read it again. And what one?
And what one nation in the earth is like thy people, even like Israel?
Was there any nation in the earth like Israel today? Is any nation can do been through what we've been through? And still we are the ball in the total pole. But still all other nations looking to do what Israel doing, what Judah doing, even what the other tribes doing, especially Issachar. Everybody want Taco Tuesdays, don't they? Oh, this Tuesday, Taco Tuesdays. Taco Tuesdays. Yeah. Issachar, Mexican, Taco Tuesdays. See that?
Mm-hmm.
We still inspire. We on the bottom, but we still inspiring the word. Read it again.
Reading from the book of 2 Samuel, chapter 7, and verse 23, and it reads, what one nation in the earth is like thy people, even like Israel, whom God went to redeem for a people to himself.
You see that? And who one nation that the Most High went to redeem for a people for himself? Any of these other nations? Any of these Greeks that y'all think Paul writing about up here in the New Testament? You gotta go with the foundation. You gotta go what was written aforetime. It was written for our learning. But this is something that was written aforetime, and we should use it because it's written for our learning. Past the pork chop, the lying and telling you, well, everybody is saved, and you know, and that was the Old Testament, and Jesus came on the scene and everything is changed. Nothing didn't change. Yahweh himself said in Hebrews, I'm the same today and yesterday and forever. So he ain't changed either. You see that? He ain't changed. Give me Jeremiah 31:31. So let's see if he changed. If salvation or he cast away his people, Israel, for these low lives out here. I know people they call them in the scriptures.
So Jeremiah 31.
Yeah, Jeremiah 31:31. Let's see if these people is any good. Because he said in Isaiah that they're like spittle, drop a drop falling from a bucket. They're nothing.
Mhm.
But our people want to bring them along because they're reading Paul's writing and don't understand.
Reading from the book of Jeremiah, chapter 31 and 31. Behold, the days come, said the Lord, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel.
A new covenant, something yet to be come to pass. A new covenant. Read.
And with the house of Judah.
And with the house of Judah, so-called black man here in America today. That's the tribe of Judah. Read.
Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt.
And we were in Egypt, and we here in modern day Egypt today, just like back there with Pharaoh. Read.
Which my covenant they break.
And we broke the Most High covenant. We driving crazy in the wilderness, man. So you had to get rid of a lot of us in the wilderness. Only 2 people went into the promised land that came out of Egypt. Read.
Although I was a husband unto them, said the Lord.
See that? We have the husband. Israel have a husband. Most High. Read.
But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel.
And listen to the contract that the Most High going to make with us. Read.
After those days, said the Lord, I will put my law in their inward parts and write them, and write it in their hearts, and will be their God, and they shall be my people.
See that? And the Most High going to do that for us because we are his people. He's going to write his laws in our inward parts. See that? So if he do that, just like when it was the flood, Noah didn't shut the door. Who shut the door? The Lord said, move back. The Lord shut the door. So the Lord here now saying he's going to write it in our inward parts. Read.
And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor.
And we won't be out here sitting down, looking in a camera, teaching nobody. Read.
And every man his brother.
And we won't be out in the street. Come on, brother. Come and hear the word. Oh, give me a minute. Give me 2 minutes. Hear this word. We won't be out there saying that either in that day. Read.
Saying, know the Lord.
And we won't be saying that, as I just said, brother, come on, man. Know the Lord, man. Come and hear this word. Read.
For they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them.
And we all going to know the Most High. From the little one that falling over, that now beginning to walk, but the one with the elder with the long beard, gray beard, and gray hair, walking with a cane, sitting in a rocking chair. Read.
Said the Lord.
Saith the Lord. See that? They didn't say it up there in Paul's writing. Saith the Lord. And what verse you at?
I have more meat on that.
What verse you at?
34.
Saith the Lord. And the Lord there written in what? All caps, right? Khan. So that's the Most High. Read.
For I will forgive their iniquity, and I will remember their sins no more.
And the Lord can forgive our, I don't even know what it is, our iniquity. Because it's got to be another word for that, for what we're doing out here in America. It can't be iniquity. It got to be worse than iniquity, man. Read.
35. Thus said the Lord, which giveth the sun for a light by day.
Just give it the sun for a light by day. We come outside, once it's not overcast and rainy, you see the sun. Read.
And the ordinance of the moon and of the stars for a light by night.
And the ordinance for the moon and stars by night. Read.
Which divided the sea when the waves thereof roar. The Lord of hosts is his name.
You see that? Read.
If those ordinances depart from before me, said the Lord, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation.
So the Most High saved all of these constellations, the sun, the moon, the stars, the waves, everything. If all of those ordinances depart from before him, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me forever
and ever.
See that? So you can still look outside, you can still see those things. So that means Israel is still in effect today. See that? Read. 37.
Thus said the Lord, if heaven above can be measured and the foundations of the earth searched out beneath, I will also cast off all the seed of Israel from all that they have done, said the Lord.
Right. See that?
Mm-hmm.
So give me Romans. Give me Romans what is that? 3 and 1. It's 3 and 1. See that? Give me Romans 3 and 1, man. Romans chapter 3, verse 1.
Read from the book of Romans, chapter 3, and verse 1, and it reads, what advantage then had the Jew? Or what profit is there of circumcision?
So what advantage have the Jew? We just read what advantage we have here in Jeremiah, right. In Jeremiah 31. We just read that advantage right there. That was a big advantage.
That's right.
That about 1,000 years, start out. Advantage over you. That's the day with the Lord, advantage over you. See that? Like Esau, he had a 200-year head start. Since he brought us over here, he built up his kingdom. He had over 200-year head start, and we struggling, trying to play catch up. So we were like a day with the Lord, and starting. Read.
Which every way, chiefly because that unto them were committed the oracles of God.
Every way, chiefly, mainly, everything was committed the oracles of the Most High. Everything. See that? Laws, statutes, commandments, everything was committed onto us. So we have a profit, an advantage, and a profit. See that? Over everything here, everybody. We have that. Because we just read Jeremiah 31 and 31 on down to 37. Read.
For what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of God without effect?
So why if some did not believe that the Greeks that you read in Romans and in Colossians and in First Corinthians and those other scriptures, well, why do you not believe that those people are the Israelites who were scattered throughout Asia Minor and all these other places in the face of the earth? If you don't believe that these people are the Israelites today, because you're reading Paul's writing and don't have no understanding. Read.
Most High forbid.
Most High forbid. Read.
Yea, let the Most High be true, but every man a liar.
Well, let the Most High be true, and every man a liar, because he said it. I changed not. So your sons of Jacob will not be consumed or be confounded. Read.
As it is written, that thou mightest be justified in thy sayings.
Right, as it is written there in the scriptures, and we reading that verbatim, precept upon precept, line upon line, as it is written, that we may be justified when we say these things from the scriptures. Read.
And mightest overcome when thou art judged.
And might us overcome when we are judged. We keep the laws, statutes, and commandments, and the faith of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. See that?
Mhm.
Read verse 9.
What then? Are we better than they? No, in no wise. For we have before proved, both Jews and Gentiles, that they are all under sin.
Right. So both Jew and Gentile, they are all on the sin. And the only way you can sin according to here, you broke the laws, statutes, and commandments the Most High gave to Israel. He didn't give it to the other nations. You see that?
Mhm.
So only Israel can sin here according to the scriptures here. The other nations sin, yeah, but the Lord didn't give them the laws, statutes, and commandments. You see that? The Lord didn't give them, give me Leviticus, what is 26:46? Leviticus, give me Leviticus. I think it's 26:46. I think that's what it is. Let's make sure. Let me see. Yeah, 26:46.
26 and
26:46. Leviticus.
46.
Right. Let's see.
Reading from the book of Leviticus, chapter 26 and verse 46. These are the statutes and judgments and laws which the Lord made between him and the children of Israel in Mount Sinai by the hand of Moses.
Right. For those the only one that can sin according to what is written out here, what Paul is writing here in Romans chapter 4, verse 9. See? Israel. Have the Most High cast away his people? No, God forbid. Paul tell you that. And yet, when you read that, y'all still come up with, oh, well, the Greeks, it said Greeks. But Paul said, have the Most High cast away his people? God forbid. And he tell you that he from the tribe of Benjamin of the nation of Israel. So something is wrong. See that? Something is wrong with that. So we like the the Greek fashions more than our laws, statutes, and commandments. Here in America too, we love Esau fashion more than the Most High laws, statutes, and commandments.
Mm-hmm.
We go all out for Esau and his Me Too movement, Black Lives Matter, the acronyms, her, him, or EDA. You know what I mean? We go all out. Like 2 months ago, we go all out when they had that Pride Week. It was ridiculous at Pride Week. Our people are so far gone. So far gone. Give me Isaiah the second chapter. I mean Jeremiah the second chapter. Our people are so far gone. Oh gosh. It's ridiculous. Never expect in this time, hearing, reading about it and seeing it and two, it's two different things. In this time, one time, our sisters were very, very what's it called, like discreet, chaste, very shamefaced. But nowadays, I think they leave that at home. They take it like a mask. They take it off and rest it somewhere on the mantle and walk outside. They don't have no shame. They don't have nothing when it comes to those good qualities, you know, our sisters supposed to have. They don't have that. They just probably left it home somewhere or wash it down the drain when they take a shower. They probably wash it off. You see that? They probably wash it off. Jeremiah chapter 2. Let me see what I want. Jeremiah chapter 2. No, I bouncing around all over the place. Jeremiah chapter 2. Tree. Give me start 11. 2 and 11. Yeah.
Read from the book of Jeremiah, chapter 2 and verse 11, and reads, have a nation changed their gods, which are yet no gods.
Right.
But,
Go ahead.
But my people have changed their glory for that which doeth not profit.
Right. And the Most I say, have a nation change their gods, which are no gods. How many of these nations that they change their gods? I mean, when COVID was in full effect, Elam was throwing their gods in the river. But they didn't change it, but it was just throwing their gods and burning them. But have any nation changed their gods which are yet no gods? No. But my people have changed their glory for that which doth not profit. All this crap you running about, hey, trying, killing yourself, breaking your neck, trying to uphold, ain't profiting you. I see our sisters and brothers, man. It is sad. As the scripture say, what? Dead. She living, but she's dead. Why she live? You're on a dead level, man. You're trying so hard to be something that you're not. I didn't be just looking at them. What the? Downtown today, going to Trader Joe's. I was gonna take a picture.
Well,
yeah, I was gonna take I had my phone out listening to music, but I was gonna switch over to camera. So what the? Really? That is how you came out of your house today? Oh, tell me you don't have mirrors. Yeah, Howard, it was ridiculous.
Wow.
You know, it was ridiculous.
Believe it, brother.
I said, wait, and it says Esau, the women dress better, much better. They are the wicked, but they dress much better. Much better, much more chaste, much more
conservative.
Conservative, much better, way better. Verse 21.
Yet I have planted thee a noble vine.
The Most High said, I have planted thee a noble vine. Meaning you, Israel, meaning you, the whole nation. Because he said, Israel is my firstborn, even my son, right? Read.
Holy, a right seed.
A holy, a right seed. Not a round seed. He didn't say you want apples and you ain't get a grape seed for apples. No, a holy seed, A right seed. He had an apple seed, and that's why he didn't want apple tree. Read.
How then art thou turned into the degenerate plant of a strange vine unto me?
You see that? And that's the Most High. The Most High asking our people, because he's speaking to our people. He ain't speaking to the other nations here. He's speaking to our people. This is Jeremiah. This is Babylon time. See, because Jeremiah was in Babylon. So this is Babylon time. Speaking to our people. You say, yeah, I have planted thee a noble vine, holy and right seed. How then art thou turned into the degenerate plant of a strange, he called it strange, because you acting strange. You ain't acting like Israelites. You acting like, you ain't even acting like the other nations. You acting worse than the other nations. Because what I saw today was worse than the other nations. It's only us, man. I looking at the other nations. I looking around, looking at the other nations, and they dress. Some of them dress provocative, but not like our sisters.
Let it all hang out.
Not like our sisters. I said, when you going so early in the morning, it was after 4 o'clock. When you going out after 4 o'clock, catching this rain looking like this. Right, 10 minutes. When you going out 4 o'clock in the morning looking like that, you know I'm looking to get ripped, right? At 4 in the morning. But the men ripping conservative women too. So you dressing her the way how you dress at 4 in the morning on the train. And you dare not close your eyes. Don't close your eyes. Read on.
For though thou wash thee with night and take thee much soap, and yet thy iniquity is marked before me, said the Lord thy power.
So you can take all this soap. You can use Tide, you can use non-bleach, you can use the one that don't soil your clothes with bleach. You can use all these soaps. The Most High says, still, your iniquity is marred before me, saith the Most High. See that? Read verse 33.
33. Read from the book of Jeremiah, chapter 2, and verse 33. Why trimmest thou thy way to seek love?
Why our people is trimming their ways in this kingdom to seek love? And the love you getting ain't no real love, because you have to give up something to seek this love that you are seeking. You trimming what the Most High gave you to seek love from something that don't profit. And it's not gonna profit you. They saw the love of it. It's not gonna profit you. Read.
Therefore, hast thou also taught the wicked ones thy ways?
Right, and we also taught the wicked ones our ways, man. Read.
Also in thy skirts is found the blood of the souls of the poor innocents. I have not found it by secret search, but upon all these.
See? Yeah, following him by secret search. It's right there in your face, in the open. You have to go looking up on that rock. Are you up on there? It's right there for everybody to see. No secret about nothing with our people. And it just proud. You can see when the pasture, you can see that on the face. They ain't have a like this stone cold, the head straight and stone cold. Cause they know if the glance down, they know they're wrong. So they're trying to be hardcore. But this is me. This is how I roll in these days. Yeah, you can roll right up on a bus. 36.
Reading from the book of Jeremiah, chapter 2, and verse 36. Why gaddest thou about so much to change thy way?
Right. Why you getting all about the place? Oh, I gotta do this. I gotta do that. I gotta be like this. I gotta be that. But the Most I ain't tell you gotta be like that. The Most I said, keep my laws, statutes, and commandments. Even Paul tell you to dress modest in modest apparel. Didn't Paul say that? The same Paul that you see writing to the Greeks. He said, dress in modest apparel. Be shamefaced. Be chaste. Be all of those things. But I see a lot of immorality going on, a lot of lewdness up there in the streets. I guess the rare proper clothes went in the house, and when they leave in the house, they take off all the clothes. They got it reversed, role reversal. They look decent at home, and when they're ready to go, nothing on. Where you going? You going to the spa? Where you going? From there, let's get the give me Ecclesiastes. You know which one?
Mm-hmm.
The camp anthem. Because with all of this, I'm going back and forth on all these books and everything. But this is the main thing that we're supposed to be doing. If we want to get up and out of this place in one piece, this is what we're supposed to be doing. The main thing. Ecclesiastes after Proverbs.
Okay. Well, trust.
Yeah, we need to come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments that the Most High gave us as a nation of people. And just maybe, because you say the righteous scarcely be saved out of this thing. So maybe you might be one of those that be scarcely saved out of this destruction that the Most High going to bring upon America. As you ready to go?
Read from the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, and verse 13, and it reads, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter.
Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Read.
Fear the Most High and keep his commandments.
Fear the Most High. Because y'all seen that y'all fearing Paul because y'all want to go against Paul. Fear the Most High. What he said, what to do. He said, I'm the Lord, I change not. He said, and what one nation the earth is like thy people, Israel.
Right.
See that? He said, Isaiah 45 and 17. Isaiah 45 and 17. He said, Isaiah 45 and 7. I got it. I got it.
Verse 17. But Israel shall be saved in the Lord with an everlasting salvation. Ye shall not be ashamed or confounded, world without end.
And world without end. He said that too about us. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. See that?
Mm-hmm.
That's part of the conclusion of the whole matter. That Israel should be saved with everlasting salvation.
For this is the whole duty of man.
For this is the whole duty of man. Read.
For God shall bring every word into judgment.
And the Most High shall bring every word that you say into judgment. The little simple Negroes like to say a lot of things up on them breath and all kind of things. When the Most High have his angel next, you're writing it down. You feel in here, you in your thoughts, eh? But that angel got the ink horn, the ink pen, and writing. Read.
With every secret thing.
With every secret thing. Whether we like to do things in the open or like to do things behind closed doors in the dark room, or every secret thing. Read.
Whether it be good or whether it be evil.
Whether it be good or whether it be evil. So my topic was how the Most High cast away his people, and I've been through Romans. I've been through Corinthians. I didn't go to Colossians, but one was in Colossians,
Galatians.
and one was in Galatians, to show our people caught up in Christianity like to use these scriptures to say that everybody can be saved, and don't have no understanding about Paul's writing when he said things are very Peter says things are very hard to be understood. They wrestle with his writings. So in order to understand Paul's writing, you gotta know the history behind why he's saying what he's saying, why he didn't say Romans, he said Greek. And you gotta know that history, so you will know when you read it, it won't be pertaining to all the other nations can be saved along with our people. See that? And with that, that's the end of my class. Amayaka Allah. Is there anything I gotta read up here? Yahweh? Oh. Shalom.
Shalom. Kwam Yasharallah.
Kwam Yasharallah.